Yeah, I could have emailed him, couldn't I? But someone decides to keep sending spam through my email account, so I go straight to junk, so no one responds. So I have to invite people by paper airplane. Cheers, Kat.
All right, here is my effort at the Big Bot Bash Bosh, the Big Bot Bash challenge by Bill Making Stuff. I'll be honest, I haven't really done anything like this before. This is very much out of my comfort zone, but that doesn't mean I'm not up to the challenge.
Yes, a few months ago, I was invited by Bill Making Stuff to join in on a collaborative robot building challenge, the Big Bot Bash. Alongside a brilliant crew of creators, we were all tasked with one mission: build a robot. If you follow the channel for any length of time, you'll know I've barely converted anything before. But, armed with a sheet of wild ideas and keywords, courtesy of the bot generator, I set out to try something. Something new. After binge watching a heap of videos from the previous Big Bot Bash, in a desperate attempt to figure out how any of this could work, I did what any resourceful maker would do. I raided my kids' toy stash. Balls, plastic egg cups, tin cups, bottles, dummies, you name it, I stole it. My parts bin isn't exactly overflowing though, and somewhere along the way, I got into a minor scuffle with a child's pram while searching for metal rods. But the less said about that, the better. If I'm honest, I wasn't feeling hopeful. I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see where the bot was going to come from. But then, it happened.
I was out at my partner's parents' house, and her dad has a ton of tools. He's kind of a tool wood kind of dude with a workhouse and a shed. And what he has there is loads of old bits he's taken apart and has no idea what to do with, kind of just a junk drawer. And that to me sounded like the right kind of place. I've got a deconstructed chainsaw, I think. Little bits, beads, old pluggy bits, cables, something that could be an eye. I've got like cool old joints. Now this feels like the perfect place to actually start this build. So I'm going to use this, show you what I can, and see if I can make some sort of body first, and kind of go from there and see what else I can stick on.
What an unbelievable find. It even has spinny bits that jiggle all over the place. I'm going to admit I'm not a toolsy kind of person, so I don't really know what any of these things do, but I do know it looks pretty cool. Now I did have to clean all of these parts. They were still covered in rust and oil and grease, and as cool as that was, it was too messy to work with, unfortunately. One problem I did have after having the body was I did not have any legs. And my good friend James, who turned up to the shop for a hobby night, got roped into helping me deconstruct these old monitor stands that Kira used to use for her stream. And from then, I just had the decision to make whether or not I wanted this to stand on 2 legs or 4 like a big beetle. Everything fitted together perfectly, and I ended up going for a standing up 2-legged robot. A bit of a classic. A couple of long M10 bolts from the hardware store down the road fitted straight through the legs and through the body, which made the decision even easier because I could just mount it that way and we had no problems at all. Totally sturdy, yes heavy, yes massive, but looking very good. Already the metal and the legs are there. I have everything I need to move forward. I just need to start adding details. The plastic cover from the chainsaw looked like a great armor plating for the front. I just had to figure out a way to integrate it. Once having sprayed the legs lead belcher just to sort of tie it in with the body a bit more, I started on with some details, and the glue sticks from a plastic glue gun made perfect sort of liquidy cables that I could cut to size to start making this look less like a set of monitor stands. I had a few rubber toggles left over from whatever tool this was from, and they started to go on the edges of everything just to hide some bolts and nuts, and again make it look more put together, more like a bodged up robot. And to be honest, it's looking pretty cool. I sprayed the front black with some sort of red primers as well, and the bolts that came with it were still in the set, and they allowed me to attach it to the front. Now there are some gaps, but we can worry about those later. But for a day's worth of work so far, I'm delighted with where this is at.
It's probably only been like 80 seconds since I last saw you, but for me it's been nearly a full day. And what I've got now is the legs, feet, body, front, and soon head and mini head of the robot. And this then is kind of the core of everything. What I need to do is fill some other gaps and then get onto the bit I think that might suit me more, and that's kind of detailing, weathering, little bits and bobs, but the core mechanic is there.
With the body complete, or well, there, it needs a head. And I found this cute little pop-out bit. I just had to add a little sprue bar in the top there so it could sit nicely, and that to me looks great. I don't really know what this was, some sort of old power pack. I was a bit scared it would still have power in it and I'd electrocute and kill myself, but I didn't. If you are going to do this kind of thing, just make sure you do it safely. Super glue here was the savior of this entire build. Super glue and activator, to be honest. I just glued everything on anywhere I could find where anything fitted. These seem like cool little grates to go up the back to start hiding some of that integrated monitor stands. I did end up removing these actually at the end. They didn't really fit the general aesthetic, and I found other parts that suited better. These little pipes fitted exactly into the holes that we had that could have been the front legs for this robot, and that gave me a kind of chimney stack jobby, somewhere for all the exhaust fumes to come out of this robot, whatever it is. Now I have to be honest, I didn't know what this robot was going to be when I started it. It was something, an idea, a piece of paper, but it started to come together on its own, and I think I've accidentally ended up making some sort of giant AdMech Titan. This thing dwarfs Titans. It's huge. It's 3 feet tall, but everything I found just fitted on it so well. Wire wrapping tape, I use this for LED lighting, also was a great find, super cheap, and it allowed you to add cabling everywhere and just start adding more detail, making things look more authentic, because these kinds of big robots would have cables and pipes and oils and petrol. I don't know what it's running on or what its job is. But it is something, and that to me is an achievement. I had no idea how this project was going to end up, but we've ended up somewhere. Now I want to get detailing this. I'm going to start slapping some paints on, using some sponges, and just adding general colour to the model. I know it looks like not much has happened, but there's just so many pieces that have gone on this that are just randomly stuck on, and this just shows that anybody can do this. I have no skill, no practice at this, just a very small bits box, but you at home could build your own Titan like this, and it is perfectly usable. As I say, it's about 3 feet tall. It does dwarf my Warhound Titan, and if you were to play something like AdMech, you could certainly use this as some giant robot. It's cost me essentially nothing, just old bits, and we all have something lying around. Was this what I envisioned at the start? Absolutely not. Is it even any good? I don't know. I'm just relying on the fact I managed to get lucky with a really cool core piece. And that alone is why these kinds of projects are so much fun, because picking the right thing to start with and then just letting your mind go and enjoying the experience is what's so important about this hobby. I did try to stick on the turbo laser destructor from my Warhound Titan, but it just isn't big enough. If I want to move forward with this project later, and I may well do, just to have something cool and different, I'd probably just get a massive gun for that side and then maybe add some netting on. But who says projects these days ever have to be truly finished? When do you ever finish a project? You don't. But if I want to come back to this and revisit it, I certainly can. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is what I was meant to have done, but it is what's happened, and I have really enjoyed doing something outside of my comfort zone. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, or you want to see totally different creators make totally different robots, do make sure to check out the full Big Bot Bash playlist down in the description. Thank you to Bill Making Stuff for organising all this, and for everybody else for all of your support during the process. Thank you guys, take care, look after yourselves, and I will catch you in the next one.